Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome to today's video. This episode will guide you through the issues of the Uncanny X-Men published by Marvel Comics in 1976. Issue number 97. Charles Xavier is being tormented in his sleep. He is having a nightmare, and he shouts out. But is this really a dream though, or rather a nightmare of things to come? And to whom is he shouting? Who is he asking to leave him alone and to get out of his mind? Whoever it is certainly not someone who is responding to him. And instead, Xavier finds himself once again in a nightmare he has experienced many times before. Far, far away from the safe confines of his home, he has been drawn into hell. A hell deep in space. A hell in the form of a battle he has seen play out many times. Two mighty starfleets creating their own private Armageddon in the desolate space around a giant binary sun. And there is nothing else he can do but watch it unfold. He witnesses men aboard the ships die, as the hulls are being breached by the enemy energy beams. He can feel their quick, but brutal and merciless deaths. He can feel the pain of these aliens as they die and can feel the terrible cold of this alien space he finds himself in. And all he can think of, as he has done many times before, is to wonder if he isn't going insane. And then, as sudden and silent as the battle began, it ends just as abruptly. It's strange how so much death can occur in so much silence, really. Somehow it just doesn't seem right. Amongst all the dying, one small scoutcraft manages to survive this holocaust. It manages to run and hide, to hopefully live and to fight another day. And as it is fleeing the scene, Xavier finds himself getting drawn to it, like a moth to a flame. And once again, he cannot stop this. He gets pulled in. Closer and closer. This dream of his has his body and soul, and it's not letting him go. Not before it gets in even closer. Closer than ever before. And this time around, it's so close that he can even see a face. And that is when Xavier wakes up, shouting no, and he's all sweaty, trying to clear his mind as the echoes of his own scream still ring in his ears. He thinks to himself how it's ironic that he prides himself for possessing the strongest mutant brain on the whole of planet Earth. Yet, this dream that's been bugging him for many days now tears his mind apart at will. It's time to face the truth. Time to face the fact that his mind is no longer his own. He pulls himself out of bed and moves himself into his wheelchair. He makes himself a cup of coffee, and that's when Moira comes up to him. She notices how he's shaking like a leaf. She tells him that she heard him scream and asks him what's wrong, while she pours him a cup of coffee with a steady hand. He then tells her that he had the same dream again, but this time stronger than ever. He tells her there's so much incredible power behind it. Moira tells him that he's asking too much from himself, and that he should probably open up to the others and tell them about this, as she lays her hand on his shoulder. But he asks her how. How can he ever tell his students that he thinks he's going mad? But Moira tells him that it's not as bad as he says it is. She points out that she came to him when he asked her for help, just like she said she would. Charleston says that he had no right to ask her after what had happened before, but Moira doesn't let him finish his thoughts. She tells him to not be foolish because that is what friends are for. Xavier then smiles for the first time in many weeks, and he slowly drinks his coffee. And even though his body seems to relax, his eyes are far from relaxed. They keep shifting and are never still, as if he is waiting for the dawn that cannot come too soon. And eventually, dawn does break. 2 hours after the sun has come up in New York, the same sun rises over Rio Diablo. Even though this piece of land is a hell on earth to most, doctoral candidates Alex Summers and Lorna think it's a paradise. They have been here for about 6 months now, and over time their friendship has become a lot more than just a friendship. As Alex kisses Lorna goodbye, she realizes that she has struck gold with this man. As she's cleaning up breakfast, she figures that after all the hassles and grief she has experienced before, she finally feels whole again. When she is with this man, she feels whole, complete and fulfilled. She feels like a woman, and that feels just fine. She then hears someone knocking on the door, and she wonders who it is, since they should pretty much be the only people around here for miles. She knows that she shouldn't be in danger, because her mutant magnetic power should be able to handle any kind of trouble. But when she opens the door, she sees someone familiar. Someone familiar who quickly and easily hurts her and manages to knock her out cold. But not that far away, Alex could still hear Lorna scream. He instantly recognizes her voice and rushes back to the house. When he runs inside and asks if she is alright, he sees her standing by the cabinet where she is keeping her clothes. She tells him that she is alright and there is no need to shout. So Alex asks her why she screamed out then, because he came running all the way back from the canyon. He sees she's holding her costume and asks her what that is all about. Lorna then tells him that the costume is hers, and she blasts him while she tells him that her magnetic powers are hers as well. The power of Polaris, the mistress of magnetism. The power of death. And Alex can only just utter a scream as he falls to the floor, unconscious. And Lorna is then joined by the character who attacked her just minutes before, and he tells her that he will use Alex to achieve their prime objective, namely making sure that Charles Xavier will die. Three days pass and we then move to Kennedy International Airport, where there will be a goodbye of sorts. 5 friends have gathered to see their professor off on a well-earned vacation. Jean Grey has come along for the occasion, and tells Xavier to be careful and to not stay in direct sunlight for too long, because his skin burns easily. But Charles mocks her overprotectiveness and Jean gets the point. She then asks what happened to Benji and Wolverine since they are not here with them, and Aurora tells her that Sean chose to spend the afternoon with Moira instead, and Wolverine was apparently just feeling unsociable. They then say their final goodbyes to Xavier as he gets on board of the plane and quickly tells Jean to tell Nightcrawler that Tony Stark's image inducer is not a toy and is meant to help him blend in and not make him look like some kind of 1930s movie star. Speaking of Kurt, he is at the gate, admiring some ladies and asks Piotr his opinion on some of the girls. Piotr honestly doesn't know what to say, because he's not used to women walking around in short skirts like the women in America are. Where he is from, women dress a lot more conservative. And at that moment, Piotr gets distracted, because he sees Alex Summers and Lorna Dane at the airport, wearing their Havok and Polaris costumes. He's not sure what's going on here, but he is alert. Alex has made his way to Scott, Jean and the airplane where Professor X is on. Scott immediately asks his brother Alex why they are here, and why they are wearing their costumes. Jean warns Scott that something is wrong. She's picking up sensations and is seeing images, and then she tells Scott that it's a trap. This is Polaris' cue to attack Jean and blast her with her powers, while telling her that she just foolishly signed her own death warrant. Scott screams out, having just seen his loved one getting attacked, and shouts at Polaris, asking her if she's gone crazy and what she thinks she's doing. Havok then tells his brother that they are doing what they have to do, and tells his brother to stay out of the way because it's Xavier who they want, and not them. Scott then tells Havok that that will only happen over his dead body, and Havok is willing to oblige. Scott is trying to stop Alex, who is starting to charge up his mutant powers, which can be seen by everyone around. The 2 pilots in the aircraft are seeing this unfold and know that they should get out of here, before these guys kill one another and they are caught in the middle. They start moving, and not one moment too soon. As the plane makes its way down the runway, Havok and Polaris are hot in pursuit. Storm, Colossus and Nightcrawler have made their way outside to the platform as well and find Scott lying on the ground. He's telling them that Alex and Lorna are going after Xavier, and that they have to stop them in any way that they can. And fast. Colossus changes into his organic metal form, and Nightcrawler does away with the illusion the image inducer provided him with. They both see Havok getting ready to blast the plane, as do the pilots aboard it. Nightcrawler then tackles Havok from behind, but what he doesn't realize is that by doing so, he made Havok lose the focus of his powers, and his blast goes wild. And it totally ravages another plane close by, totally wrecking it and making it explode, with one single blast. And the small plane Xavier is on only barely managed to escape in time. The X-Men back on the platform are watching this inferno lighting up the surroundings, and are just thankful that the Boeing 747 was undergoing maintenance and that it wasn't carrying any passengers. Cyclops then grabs his brother Havok and asks him if he has completely lost his mind. Asks him what he thinks he's doing. Havok can only stutter a bit, and then Cyclops hears a voice behind him. A voice telling him that Havok was simply following orders. His orders. And as Cyclops turns his head around, he sees a familiar character standing there. Namely, Eric the Red. But this confuses Cyclops, because he himself was actually Eric the Red at one point in the past. Eric the Red then tells Cyclops that it doesn't matter who he is, but what matters is that he is power incarnate, and that nothing can stand against him. Nightcrawler and Colossus help Cyclops to attack at once, at his command, but Eric the Red easily deals with them, telling them that they will not be able to take him, that all they will do is die. Storm, who is flying in the air trying to get Jean to safety, can tell that the battle is going against them. She thinks herself lucky that neither Havok nor Polaris can fly. But unbeknownst to her, Polaris has learned a new trick. She has learned how to manipulate Earth's gravitational field during their battle with Krakoa, a couple of months back, and is now able to get real close to Storm up in the air, catching her off guard and being able to blast her high up in the sky. Storm realizes way too late and drops Jean, who plummets to the ground. Storm dives towards Jean, even though she is still groggy from Polaris' attack. She's having a hard time to concentrate, but she has to make her way to Jean and try and grab her. Has to make an effort, as she only has one chance to save Jean from crashing. She strains herself, but she made it, just in time. Storm then quickly drops off Jean on a rooftop close by so she can head back and deal with Polaris. And deal with her she shall. She summons all her elemental powers and gets ready to attack Polaris. Full power. Back on ground level, the two Summers brothers are standing face to face with one another. Alex begs Scott to please let him and Lorna go, before something happens which they will all regret, but Scott tells him that he will not allow that before he gets some answers. Not until he has found out why Alex turned on them and tried to kill them. Alex tries to answer, but he can't really explain coherently. All he knows is that Eric the Red forced his mind to do it. Scott tells his little brother to fight it, to break free. He tells Alex that he knows he can do it. Alex tells him that he's trying, but he can't, as once again his mutant powers amp up. Scott notices this happening and can tell that Alex can't seem to break away from Eric the Red's control. He fires his I-beam towards the ground below Alex's feet, making him lose his balance. Scott does not want to hurt his little brother, but he also knows that if Alex were to cut loose, he'd be a goner. But Havok is not as careful as his big brother is. He then fires his blast at the wall behind Cyclops, which crumbles and falls right on top of him. Havok then snaps to for a minute and realizes what he has done. He runs towards Cyclops saying that he's sorry and that he didn't mean to. He didn't even want to. Havok fears that he has killed his brother. He starts clearing the rubble and pulls his brother's body out of the debris. He finds him to be alive still and tries to carry him out of there to safety. He tells Cyclops to take it easy and that it will be alright. But Cyclops punches him right in the face, telling Havok that this is for his own good. And as Cyclops knocks his brother out cold, Colossus and Nightcrawler are trying to subdue Eric the Red, who is convinced that the two of them cannot beat him, and he calls them mutant vermin. He then throws Nightcrawler, who is on his back trying to get a hold of him, and launches him at Colossus with full force. But right before Nightcrawler is about to smash into Colossus, he manages to teleport himself away, leaving nothing but a crack of flame and the stench of brimstone, where he once was. And almost instantly, Nightcrawler materializes again, on top of the wing of a nearby airplane. Eric does not know where Nightcrawler went. And as Nightcrawler jumps downward from the wing of the airplane and dives towards Eric the Red's legs, he tells his teammate Colossus to strike Eric up high. But sadly, Eric the Red is simply too powerful for them. Not just for Kurt, but for Piotr as well. Even his strongest punch does not knock Eric the Red off his feet. But instead, Eric does just that to Colossus. And he punches him straight into the landing gear of one of the airplanes, causing it to break and tip over, smashing its wing on the ground, right where the landing gear was, crushing Colossus. Kurt shouts out for Colossus and asks if he is alright, but there is no response. Kurt then swears to Eric the Red that if he has killed Piotr, but before he can finish the sentence, Colossus is making his way from underneath the debris, smashing himself to freedom again. Piotr is still alive and well, and he says that it will take a lot more than Eric to kill him. And he chucks the remainder of the landing gear right at Eric the Red, which catches him by surprise. And in just a couple of minutes, the airport has become a scenery of a battle of epic proportions, with Eric the Red having just smashed through a pile of fuel drums, now lying broken and still, and the skies above going dark, with only the energy signatures of two powerful mutant elementals being visible. Storm and Polaris are engaged in a deathly duel, but it eventually comes to a stalemate. Polaris realizes that the two of them are too evenly matched, and suggests for this game to end in a draw. Her choice of words enrages Storm, who does not consider this to be a game at all. There's too much at stake, and Havok and Polaris started attacking the X-Men without any kind of warning, and there was no form of provocation. The two of them tried to kill the X-Men, without a single thought for the innocent bystanders, who have been endangered and could have possibly gotten killed in their attack. Storm then unleashes the full potential of her powers on Polaris. Fueled up by rage, Storm makes clear to Polaris that this is definitely not a game. Polaris then gets hit with multiple lightning attacks, and drops out of the sky, yelling out and falling towards the concrete ground on the runway. Havok sees this happening and shouts out for his lover. He attacks Cyclops with a full blast of his cosmic energies, aimed directly, this time around, at his body, cursing his brother, telling him that he will kill him if Lorna has been hurt. He will kill them all, if that is the case. Alex runs towards Lorna, who has fallen to the ground. He wants to strike out at his brother and his brother's teammates. He fears that he will have to do so if he finds out that Lorna has died, because of the simple fact that he loves this woman. For the love he feels for this woman, he would lie, cheat, steal, and yes, even kill. And in only a few moments from now, he might just do so. But instead, at that time, reinforcements for the X-Men have arrived, in the form of Wolverine and Banshee. Eric the Red sees them arrive, and figures Xavier must have summoned them with his telepathy. He then tells Havok and Polaris to come to him. He realizes that this battle has not been going in their favor. And since only a fool stands to fight against hopeless odds, he says it's better for them to leave now. He picks the two of them up and flies them out of there. Cyclops yells out to his brother to stop, or he will fire. He tells Alex that he means it, that he will cut the three of them down if he has to. But then, Cyclops stutters and hesitates. He simply cannot kill his own brother. Wolverine asks him why he's hesitating and doesn't fire. He has a clear shot at them and tells Cyclops to blast them out of the sky. They are getting away and he has to blast them now. Wolverine keeps on yelling to Scott, asking him why he's hesitating, and why he doesn't shoot them already. They initiated the attack and now he's just standing there, watching them fly away. Wolverine then calls him a hotshot and asks him what the matter is, and asks him if he is gutless or something. Cyclops, already frustrated and angry with himself, turns to Wolverine and just knocks him off his feet with a backhanded clenched fist. Wolverine then gets up, pops his claws out and tells Cyclops that he's going to cut him wide open for doing that. But Storm then interrupts Wolverine and holds him back by his shoulder, saying that he will not be doing such a thing. Not now and not ever, or he will have to answer to her. And Scott, with a mind torn with questions he can't answer, and feelings he can't explain, walks off alone. His brother tried to kill him today, and he just knows that the next time they will meet, there will be no holding back. One brother will be killing another, and the true horror of that day will be that they will kill each other without knowing the reason why. That day they will not be men at all, but merely just puppets on a string, dancing to the beat of someone else's drum. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. You can help growing this channel by liking, subscribing and sharing. This tells YouTube that the videos I'm making should be recommended to others and would be very much appreciated. See you next episode.